We're gonna move up. Let's move it up. Can you give us an update on DeMarcus and Zeke and what the plan is for this weekend?
DeMarcus will be to put him in a category probably limited today. But I have all intention for him to play, and he's obviously working through a couple things. No question there. I think clearly Zeke. I haven't really talked to the trainers today, but I know he came out of yesterday's practice better than he did this time last week. So, I anticipate him going to.
DeMarcus remarked to us that he may have refractured the foot. Or there's a fracture or something there. Have you gotten it?
I'll tell you what, I think it's just a great reflection of your guys' relationship with our players, and if they like to share the specifics of how they're feeling and things like that, this is how we operate, as we know. So yeah. So whatever detail he went into, then that's what it is.
Haley Sutton, DallasCowboys.com. Along those same lines, I know you're really particular in how you handle injuries in the building. So when you have a guy like Tank who's saying, I have 2 banged up feet, I have a bum knee, and I still want to play through it, how do you navigate between keeping him healthy long term versus allowing him to play because he feels comfortable to play through that?
Well, I mean, this is why we spend the amount of time that we do, but we have a process, we have a procedure. I don't think we handle it much differently than most people. At the end of the day, the players are in charge of their body, and it goes through every component of training. And I mean, these guys are professional athletes. Our job is to create structure, to serve and make sure that they have the things they need to move through a season. And D-Law is a great example of that. I think he's played through a lot in his career, and obviously, the way he plays the game, I think you're seeing, that he's going to have things that he has to deal with. But, ultimately, no one plays in a game that's not physically, capable, and everybody's on deck, that they can compete and go out there and play to their ability. So, the process is always the same.
Michael Gelkin, Dallas Morning News. How did Anthony Barr feel coming out of yesterday's practice?
I thought Anthony had a good day of work yesterday. He probably didn't get the amount of reps that he would have liked, just because we had to be smart with him coming back. But he's on a trajectory to play on Sunday. But we'll see. Tomorrow for all these guys, D-Law. If anything comes up, it's Saturday's practice is when it truly shows itself. So because we'll give all these guys the chance to play based off where their medical status is. So their medical status is they're definitely all have a chance of playing the game. But and that's just part of our regiment. Saturday practice is usually the last threshold.
Jory
up on Yahoo Sports. Mike, the Vikings had a bunch of really close games, 1-possession games last year and lost almost all of them. Now they've had all but one possession game this year and won them. Can you point to what changed in that regard?
Well, I think it's like everything in this game. I mean, you get what you emphasize. Obviously, I'm not inside their operation, but they got a lot of veteran players that were there last year, and again, this is probably one of the most experienced teams that will play so far this year. So I think all that goes into it. Their instinct, awareness, their experience is definitely heightened, and frankly, with a new staff, I mean, I'm sure they evaluated last year and said, hey, this team needs more of this, and so they're obviously their formula for training and process, and particularly those situations has served them well.
Is that something you'll highlight to the team, particularly after the lead that y'all gave them?
Well, it's really something we highlight. Frankly, I went through the same experience my first year. I didn't think that was clearly not a strength of the team the first year. And I mean, I was aided by pandemic and so forth, but I would have not given us very high grades on game management and situational football. So we spend an extraordinary amount on that, and it's just really, I think it's a reflection of what every head coach does. You see what your team needs, and where you have to maybe push a couple more reps here and there and so forth, and but it's obviously served them well in their process.
Todd Archer, the ESPN. Bohanna feeling better today? Will be back to work?
Yeah, definitely. Just some stuff going around. It happens. No, not at all. I'm not allowed. Everybody else in my house has it, but I'm not allowed to have it. So
the pass numbers in the league are down, or it's at the lowest pass per pass completion
Yeah.
in the league is like 1933 or something. Why is that? Why,
Are they attempts or completions now?
the yards per pass?
Yeah.
It's like 11 yards per pass or something like that. It's like the lowest since.
I mean, I hate to just totally like lump it all in, but I think anything that has to do with the execution statistics or this and that. I mean, you have to point to these off-season programs and this like I mean, it's I'm clear I'm not a fan of it, and I think when you're developing young teams, I mean, this is a young league. I think all those things add up. I mean, I really do. So I think this is a league focal point, and it's not going to change. We understand that, but you have to find ways to fill in those voids. I think the players do a phenomenal job of getting together on their own and doing things away from the facility. But I think I think that really leaks into September football more importantly. But also then the other part of the other side of another point to that question is look at two-back offenses has been coming back more into the league. I think when a team has success, people look at it, emulate it. And I think San Francisco's been heavy two-back here, since Kyle's been there. So as far as their utilization, I still start my process from a two-back viewpoint and work to one-back. I think the majority of these offensive coordinators and offensive coaches look at it from a one-back. It's what they grow up in high school and in college. But I just think you're seeing, and that's all this league is trends. It's just the trends go in and go out, and it's just a matter of how much you're going to do with one back. Because I've always looked at this offensive football. It's either two backs, one backs, or no backs. If you want to just really break it down on how you're stressing the defense and their principles.
The Packers defense, Ed Donatel, has been around a long time, but now Pettin's on the staff. Of course, he was with you, so do you see some influence there? What do you see
Definitely.
Maybe working with a lot of veteran Pro Bowl players.
Yeah, you definitely can see Mike's influence. I mean, Ed's done it forever. I think they're both outstanding football coaches. A lot of respect there, and they got a number of really good coaches, on their staff that I've worked with. So, yeah, you can see Mike's imprints, and I just know from our 1 year together, game situational football. I always thought that was a strength of Mike's. The two simulated pressures, or coverages, particularly in the third down, that was kind of Mike's baby when he came to Green Bay. So, and Ed, Ed's been around, Denver with they were the first ones that really come after you in 4-week pressures and so. So, Ed, there isn't a whole lot Ed hasn't seen or done in this league. And the biggest thing is you're seeing a very disciplined defense. They're a lot of experience. They do an exceptional job playing with vision, and I think it clearly shows up in their takeaways.
Cal.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. We've talked a lot about run defense this week. How would you assess how your defensive backs have been performing in run support?
Well, I mean, it's always it's just defensive backs. I think when you got to kind of break them up a little bit. Obviously, your nickels and safeties are your primary run support, and when you break down, and your corners are obviously secondary run support. Now, every offense in football tries to make the corner a primary run support player and make those guys play. But, also as you go through, challenges every week in game plan, I think it's the counter to, quarterbacks don't ultimately get judged on their run checks, and corners are, they're paid to cover the receivers too. So, but yeah, support and run is extremely important, especially when, for as much as we're seeing so much edge football and toss cracks. So, it's definitely a very heightened awareness, and we definitely need more execution there. Really, obviously for the whole run defense, but you can see how people are attacking us.
Kendall Sheffield is probably your most experienced reserve corner these days, and he's on the practice squad. How's he acclimated since his midseason?
I think he's done well. I like the way he practices. I mean, you could feel his speed. Obviously Dan had him in Atlanta, but he's doing a nice job.
Babe.
Babe Loffenberg, Cowboys Radio. Mike, so the rule changed a couple of years ago where the defender couldn't go low outside, and obviously the offensive player can't either, but how has that influenced that outside run game? And there was a play Bakhtiari drove, I think it was Kelvin Joseph, and he went to the bench.
Yeah.
That was before that DB just, obviously submarined it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bad spot for a corner to be in, with an athletic tackle. So, and really, I mean, Winfield up in Minnesota was the best I ever seen do it. I mean, he's the only corner I know in my time calling plays that I would never run a toss crack to his side because he was going to come underneath the tackle, jump up, make the play. So, and it'd be -4. But yeah, that's that's part of it. I mean, there's no question. It took away an option for those guys, and clearly. But I think when things fall under, the realm of player safety, then that's what it is. It's a safer play. It's a safer, unless you're Kelvin in that particular instance. But it's just, and I get it. I understand that. So I understand why the role.
How do you approach that to the corner, though? You take him up high, you're not going to be.
Well, I think just like anything, you got to, everybody has a leverage point, and so forth, and obviously play to your assets, and it's not taking them on straight on. That's for sure. So, just play to your assets, but also you just got to maintain your leverage here.
Michael?
The Packers didn't look at Trayvon's direction a whole lot on Sunday. Do you guys view that as a compliment to him when the game goes in that direction?
You serious?
I mean, it's not a great question.
See, if you flip that, it's not a great question. It's an opinion, I would hope. And an opinion I agree with. Yeah. Yes, I think it's a compliment. So,
Go without saying.
Clarence statement.
All right.
Go without saying. Let's go.
what's that?
Dave?
Go without saying. Let's
David, you got anything?
Oh, hey, David. You were up too late last night with doing the show, huh? Yeah. It's a TV star there,
We're in rest day at this time of year.
Yeah.
Well, good.
All right.
You good? Thank you.